I've lived and worked in Bath for over 15 years, and I've had the great privilege of being involved in a wide range of community work in that time. Working in the voluntary sector, you have to know your community, and in the research stage, you very often come across numbers or statistics which illustrate issues, needs, and problems within the local area. Here are a few that I've come across in the last few years. 1 in 5 children in Bath and North East Somerset live in poverty, and this figure is rising. Bath Food Banks recently reported a 36% increase in their use. Domestic violence has increased by 25%, with police recording on average 93 cases each month. That's 3 calls every single day. I don't know about you, but it doesn't take many of these statistics for me to begin to feel sad, angry, frustrated, and powerless, because what can I really do about numbers like those? Sometimes those numbers become motivating and they motivate us into action, but very often they become paralyzing, and I can be tempted to retreat into passivity, apathy, even denial. Focusing on need or problems is what's called a deficit-based approach, and it's very often where the third or voluntary sector begins. Find a need and meet it. Find something wrong and make it right. Now, this approach can be really effective, and I don't deny that it's been the catalyst for some amazing and transformative community projects and initiatives. But the problem with this approach is that very often it doesn't tell the full story. The stories behind the statistics are not heard. Communities become problem areas to be fixed. People become issues to be resolved rather than people to be loved. Maybe there's a different way. Today, I'd like to present a really simple idea, that rather than starting from a place of need, we should start from a place of strength. Rather than listing problems or issues, we should list strengths and resources and work out ways to build on these strengths and link them together. In community work, this approach is called asset-based community development, or ABCD, and it's changing the way that lots of communities are working in their locality to bring change. To borrow a phrase from community activist Cormac Russell, we start not with what's wrong, but with what's strong. So what does this approach look like in practice? Well, I'd like to give you an example from a project that I've been involved in, and then give us 3 simple steps that we can apply when using a strengths-based approach. A few years ago, I was a youth worker for Bath and North East Somerset Council, and I had the great privilege of getting to know 2 amazing young women. A deficit-based approach might have only noticed the issues and challenges that these girls faced. And there were significant issues that they were facing. They had autism diagnosis, mental health challenges, family conflict, and breakdown. But as I got to know the girls and heard their stories, I discovered that both of them had a real talent and an interest in writing lyrics, specifically spoken word and rap. One day they shared some of their stuff with me, and it wasn't just good, it was really good. I also heard from the girls that having this strength was amazing for them. It helped them understand what was going on inside of them. It helped them process and express their emotions in positive ways. And it was powerful and inspiring for anybody that was lucky enough to hear it. Through understanding them a little bit more and working out what can we do with these amazing talents, I began to map and identify other linked assets within the city, such as our thriving creative scene, for example, the Bath festivals. We've got loads of amazing local spoken word poets. We have lots of different, in the youth centre that I worked in, we had a recording studio, and by sort of linking all these things together, we discovered that we could start a project called Reverse, which was a specialist spoken word poetry project for young people. Over the next year, these girls learn new words every week. They had feedback from professionals on their writing, and they got to perform at local and national events, such as the Bath Literature Festival and a National Youth Work Summit. They appeared in magazines, in films. They even contributed, edited, and published an anthology of poetry, which was made up just by poetry from people in Bath and North East Somerset. They did a launch event and invited all their friends and family and performed to all of those people they didn't know, but they were great, and it was a fantastic event. At the end of the project, both girls said that their strengths had been made stronger, that they'd had opportunities that they never would have had without the project, that it had helped them with things like confidence and self-esteem. Did the project help these girls with the things they struggled with, their problems, their issues, their challenges? Yes, of course it did, but not by focusing on those things, by focusing on what they were good at, what they were passionate about, and by building on those things and helping them grow and develop as individuals. So that's my example. Maybe now let's look at these 3 stages that might help us if we want to apply an asset-based approach. So the first stage, listen. It's so important to spend as much time as you can listening to as many different people as you can. Hear the stories behind the statistics. Let people share their experiences with you. And very often, as you do this, common threads, patterns, and themes will start to emerge. I'm in a new role now as hub leader for TEDxBath, and we're developing a range of different community work. And it's easy for me, I guess, to jump in with loads of ideas about the things that we could do. But in my first few months, I've deliberately sat back and just tried to do nothing, to just listen. And in listening, this has been so key in shaping what we're going to do in the future. The second stage is gather. Gather together people that are passionate about community, passionate about changing things in the local area. Together, you'll be able to identify where the threads are coming from in these common stories. Part of this stage is also about working out where you might need to ask for help beyond the immediate group. With the Poetry Project, there were some things I could do myself and some things in our immediate team, but there were some things that just weren't in my remit at all, and I needed to look outside of the group and ask for help. The third stage, map. Map your local assets. What is there around you that is strong? And this can be places and spaces, but it can also be skills, gifts, and strengths of people within the group. Once you've done that, you've listened, you've gathered, you've mapped your assets, you can then begin to dream together about what it is that you might be able to achieve. ABCD is a brilliant approach for a city like Bath. We are surrounded by assets, aren't we? We have thriving schools, we have all these amazing places, architecture, a thriving tourism industry. There's loads to celebrate, loads of strength. But also, our geographical makeup as a city means that communication is quite easy. Relationships, sharing information through technology, but also word of mouth, means messages get out there quickly and relationships and networks are easy to form and maintain. I love this quote from Barack Obama. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. The issues we face, the statistics we come across, they can be overwhelming. But actually, I really believe that the bigger the challenge, the bigger the opportunity to really make a difference. The great thing about ABCD is that it mobilizes and equips the whole community to make a difference together. We don't need to wait for some agency or service, a bunch of experts to come and fix it for us. We can do it ourselves, and we can do it together. In fact, if we're really going to tackle some of the major challenges our world is facing at the moment, I think we have to work together. We have to work in partnership. So, let's not start with what's wrong. Let's start with what's strong. Let's listen to as many different people as we can, as much as we can. Let's gather together people that are passionate about bringing change to our community. Let's map our community assets and work out how we can make those things even stronger and link them together. And let's recognize that we don't need to wait. We are the change we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Thank you.